Japan's blood-soaked warring states period was not just a battlefield. It was a chessboard of ambition, betrayal, and transformation. In this episode, we dive into the final days of chaos and the rise of peace, revealing how three extraordinary leaders reshaped the nation, and how once mighty warriors, the samurai, ninja, and war monks, faced their twilight. From the thunder of muskets at Sekigahara to the silent fading of the ninja into legend, witness the turning point of Japanese history. But what truly led to the fall of Japan's deadliest warriors? And how did peace become a threat to those born for war? Let's uncover the truth behind the transformation. If you're fascinated by the untold stories behind history's most legendary warriors, make sure to subscribe to our channel Best of History and Mythology, leave a like, and activate the bell icon, so you never miss an episode packed with insight and epic drama. The Sengoku period, also known as the Warring States period, was one of the most tumultuous times in Japanese history, lasting from the mid-15th century to the early 17th century. This era of nearly constant conflict saw powerful samurai warlords, or daimyo, battle for control over Japan, leading to widespread chaos and political instability. The collapse of the Ashikaga Shogunate's central authority created a power vacuum, allowing ambitious warlords to rise and fight for dominance in a fragmented country. During this period, alliances were constantly shifting and battles were frequent. The samurai warriors, bound by the code of Bushido, were at the heart of these conflicts. Their loyalty to their daimyo was often tested as betrayals and shifting allegiances became common. This era also saw the increased use of the katana in battle, along with more advanced military tactics that included the use of firearms, first introduced to Japan by Portuguese traders. One of the key features of the Sengoku period was the struggle between powerful samurai clans, symbolized in Japanese mythology by the balance of the tiger and the dragon, forces representing strength and wisdom locked in an eternal struggle for dominance. This symbolic conflict mirrored the real-world battles between figures like Oda Nobunaga, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and Tokugawa Ieyasu, whose campaigns and strategies would ultimately shape the future of Japan. During this time, other warrior groups also played significant roles in the constant warfare. The ninja, for example, were frequently employed by daimyo to gather intelligence, carry out assassinations, and sabotage enemies. Their skills in espionage complemented the overt combat of the samurai, adding a hidden layer of warfare to the conflicts of the Sengoku era. Meanwhile, the sohei, Buddhist war monks, fought to protect their temples, which held significant political power. These sohei engaged in battles not only with samurai, but also among themselves as rival temples vied for influence. The Sengoku period was a time of innovation in warfare. As firearms were introduced to Japan, the tactics of battle changed, with the samurai adapting to the new reality of gunpowder weapons. Traditional hand-to-hand combat with swords and spears was still prevalent, but the Sengoku period marked the beginning of a more modern style of warfare, blending the old and the new. This era came to an end after the decisive Battle of Sekigahara in 1600, where Tokugawa Ieyasu emerged victorious, paving the way for the unification of Japan under the Tokugawa Shogunate. The Sengoku period left an indelible mark on Japanese history, with the legacy of the samurai, ninja, and sohei continuing to influence the culture and politics of the country for centuries to come. The unification of Japan was a monumental achievement that brought an end to the centuries of conflict during the Sengoku period. This process, spanning several decades, was spearheaded by three influential leaders: Oda Nobunaga, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and Tokugawa Ieyasu. These three figures, each with their own strategic vision, were instrumental in consolidating power and bringing stability to a war-torn nation. Oda Nobunaga was the first of these leaders to rise to prominence. With a combination of military innovation and ruthless tactics, Nobunaga began the process of unifying Japan. He was the first to effectively use firearms in battle, revolutionizing warfare in Japanese history and giving his forces a distinct advantage over rival samurai clans. Nobunaga's relentless campaigns brought many regions under his control, but his life was cut short in 1582 when he was betrayed by one of his generals. His ambition, however, laid the foundation for the eventual unification of the country. After Nobunaga's death, his trusted general, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, continued the mission of unification. Hideyoshi was a master tactician and diplomat, using a mix of military prowess and political maneuvering to bring the remaining samurai warlords under his rule. Unlike Nobunaga, Hideyoshi sought to maintain control through alliances and negotiations, though he did not hesitate to use force when necessary. Under his leadership, Japan was effectively unified, but his ambition extended beyond the islands, as he launched unsuccessful campaigns to conquer Korea and even dreamed of invading China. The final chapter in the unification of Japan was written by Tokugawa Ieyasu, who would establish the Tokugawa Shogunate after his victory at the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600. This decisive battle ended the power struggles between the remaining samurai clans and solidified Ieyasu's dominance. He implemented a centralized feudal system that would bring peace and stability to Japan for over 250 years during what is known as the Edo period. With peace restored, the need for covert operations and religious warriors waned, and the focus shifted toward governance and economic development. Imagine being a warrior trained for battle your entire life, only to wake up in a world that no longer needs you. What would you do if your purpose was stripped away by peace? Let us know in the comments. The unification of Japan was not just a military achievement, but also a cultural and political transformation. The legacy of the samurai, the rise of leaders like Nobunaga, Hideyoshi, and Ieyasu, and the end of the era of constant warfare marked the beginning of a new chapter in Japanese history, where the balance of power shifted away from the battlefield and towards centralized rule. The mythological struggle between the tiger and the dragon found resolution, with the strength and wisdom of these leaders forging a new, unified Japan. The samurai, once the dominant warrior class in Japanese history, began to experience a gradual decline after the unification of Japan under the Tokugawa Shogunate in the early 17th century. With the country entering a long period of peace during the Edo period, the role of the samurai shifted from fierce warriors on the battlefield to bureaucrats and administrators. Their traditional skills in combat, particularly with the katana, were no longer in high demand, and many samurai struggled to find their place in a society that no longer relied on warfare. The rigid class structure of the Edo period kept the samurai at the top of the social hierarchy, but their economic power dwindled. With no wars to fight, many samurai found themselves in financial hardship, as their stipends, provided by their daimyo, were often inadequate. This period also saw the rise of the ronin, masterless samurai who had lost their lords, often due to death or political changes. These ronin became a symbol of the changing times, wandering Japan without a clear purpose, their honor tied to a fading warrior tradition. The sohei, war monks, who had played a significant role during the Sengoku period, also saw their influence wane as the centralized Tokugawa government asserted control over religious and political institutions. The ninja, who had been employed for espionage and covert operations, became obsolete in a peaceful Japan, their skills no longer in demand in a society moving toward bureaucratic stability. Culturally, the decline of the samurai was marked by a shift in focus from the battlefield to the arts. Many samurai began to embrace intellectual pursuits such as poetry, calligraphy, and the tea ceremony, as they sought to find meaning in a world where their martial abilities were less valued. The principles of Bushido, while still revered, were applied more to personal conduct and loyalty within the samurai class than to actual combat. The arrival of Western powers in the mid-19th century, particularly with the opening of Japan by Commodore Perry in 1853, accelerated the decline of the samurai. The Tokugawa Shogunate's inability to effectively deal with foreign pressures led to the Meiji Restoration in 1868, which brought about sweeping changes. The new Meiji government sought to modernize Japan, adopting Western military practices and disbanding the samurai class. The katana, once the defining symbol of the samurai, was banned from being worn in public, and the social structure that had supported the samurai for centuries was dismantled. The decline of the samurai was not just the end of a warrior class, but the transformation of Japan into a modern nation. Their legacy, however, lived on in Japanese mythology and popular culture, where the samurai continued to symbolize honor, loyalty, and the eternal struggle between duty and personal freedom, much like the mythical battle between the tiger and the dragon that has long represented balance and conflict in Japan's cultural consciousness. The role of the ninja, stealthy warriors known for their skills in espionage, sabotage, and assassination, began to diminish significantly as Japan entered a period of prolonged peace under the Tokugawa Shogunate. During the Sengoku period, the ninja were essential to the power struggles between rival samurai clans, but with the unification of Japan and the establishment of the centralized Tokugawa government, their covert skills were no longer needed in a society moving toward peace and stability. The ninja clans, particularly those from Iga and Koga, had thrived in the chaotic years of the Sengoku period, offering their services as mercenaries, spies, and assassins to various daimyo. Their expertise in unconventional warfare and espionage set them apart from the samurai, who followed the honorable code of Bushido. Japan's shift toward internal stability left little room for the covert operations that the ninja had specialized in for centuries. As the Tokugawa government solidified its control over Japan, the use of ninja became less frequent. Many ninjas were absorbed into local administrative roles, while others returned to ordinary lives. Enjoying this journey through the rise and fall of Japan's fiercest warriors? Don't forget to subscribe to Best of History and Mythology, click like, and ring the bell so you won't miss the final episode that brings these incredible stories full circle. The once thriving ninja clans, known for their secrecy and elite combat training, began to fade from the historical record. By the 17th century, the ninja as a formal organization had all but disappeared, their skills no longer in demand as Japan entered a period of isolation and peace. The decline of the ninja was accelerated by the changing nature of warfare and the strict control imposed by the Tokugawa Shogunate. The introduction of firearms and new military tactics during the Sengoku period had already begun to change the way wars were fought in Japan. As the shogunate maintained a rigid social order, there was little opportunity for the ninja to continue their covert activities without attracting attention or facing punishment. The same government policies that disbanded the samurai class and outlawed the carrying of the katana in public also contributed to the final disappearance of the ninja. Though they disappeared from Japanese history as an organized force, the ninja left a lasting legacy. Stories of their incredible feats and legendary abilities became embedded in Japanese mythology, where the ninja were often portrayed as shadowy figures with supernatural powers. Over time, the ninja became a symbol of mystery and intrigue, their image evolving into a key component of global popular culture. Can a warrior's honor survive in a world that no longer needs warriors? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop your reflections in the comments below. In a sense, much like the mythical balance of the tiger and the dragon, the ninja represented a force operating in the shadows, embodying the hidden aspects of power and warfare that remained a vital part of Japan's cultural heritage. The sohei, who had once wielded immense political and military power in Japanese history, faced their decline as the Sengoku period came to an end and the Tokugawa Shogunate solidified control over Japan. During the height of the Sengoku era, the sohei had been a formidable force, protecting Buddhist temples and acting as military defenders of their religious sects. Temples such as Enryaku-ji on Mount Hiei and Kofuku-ji in Nara had their own armies of sohei, who often clashed with samurai warlords in both political and territorial disputes. The decline of the sohei began when powerful warlords, like Oda Nobunaga, saw their military influence as a threat to the unification of Japan. Nobunaga's campaign to centralize power led to a direct confrontation with the sohei of Enryaku-ji, a mountain stronghold that had long wielded significant religious and political clout. In 1571, Nobunaga launched a brutal attack on Mount Hiei, burning the temple complex and slaughtering thousands of monks. This assault was a key turning point in the fall of the sohei, as it crippled one of the most powerful temple armies in Japan. Following Nobunaga's assault, the role of the sohei diminished further under the Tokugawa regime. The Tokugawa Shogunate established strict control over religious institutions, preventing the rise of any group that might challenge their authority. This included the once mighty war monks, who had lost their political influence and military power. With peace reigning during the Edo period, there was little need for religious warriors to defend temples, and the sohei gradually faded from prominence. The decline of the sohei mirrored the broader transformation of Japan from a land of warring factions to a unified state under centralized rule. As the power of the samurai grew, the role of religious institutions in warfare declined, and the sohei were no longer able to maintain their independent military forces. The rise and fall of the sohei are symbolic of the shifting dynamics of power in Japanese history, where religious and military authority often intertwined but ultimately gave way to the centralized government of the Tokugawa Shogunate. Despite their fall from political power, the legacy of the sohei remains embedded in Japanese mythology. They were warriors of both faith and battle, combining spiritual devotion with martial skill, much like the mythical balance of the tiger and the dragon, which represented the tension between spiritual authority and earthly power in Japan. When swords were sheathed, legends remained. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode, here on Best of History and Mythology.